Hey everyone, welcome back to my Loom kitchen, and today we'll be making onigiri. This technically isn't sushi, but has the same elements, rice and seaweed. This is really simple and easy to make. Click on the link below to get to the recipe page to check out the number of bands needed for this creation. After that, come back and let's begin. So we will be needing our regular loom. If you could remove the center row, and you could have the remaining two rows facing on opposite directions. My front row is facing to the right and my back row is facing to the left. We will be working on a total of 18 pegs. That's 9 pegs on each side. So let me mark that. This will be your first and this will be your last. So since we're only using black and white bands, for the first 6 rounds, the center 3 pegs or center 6 pegs, which is these 6, will only have black bands. So to start, 2 bands, create an X, another 2, create an X, another 2. Let's finish off the white areas first. Create an X here. Another X here. X here. Another X here. Now for the black portions, so on these 3 pegs, let's first create the black X's for the center. 2 bands, 2 black bands. Now for these areas, you're going to need 2 white bands, and you just go straight there. Then you get 2 black bands, pull them from under, place one end here, and place the other end here. Now let's do the same here. White, get 2 black bands, place one end here, and the other end here. For the first round, you're going to get 2 white bands again, and let's fill up the white areas. Let's do the other side. Then let's do the black portion. On these 4 areas, we need to have transition bands. So you take 1 white band and just lay it on top. Then you take another black band, put it across. Now you pick up the other end of that white band, pull it over, and lift that other end of the black band, twist it, and bring it over to the black area. So you have like a little X here. Let's repeat that. White band, black across, pull that white band over, pick up the other end of the black band, put it onto itself on the black area, and put the other end of the white band over here. Now on this side, place the black band down, white across, pull that black band over, now one more time, black band, put the white across, put that black band over, lift the other end of the white band, transfer it onto itself, and place the black band there. So that's our first round on the 18 pegs. Now we're just going to loop all the lower bands up and over. You'll be leaving only 4 bands on each peg. So we finished the first round. We're going to be needing 5 more rounds of what we did with the white and the black areas and the 4 transitional areas. So if you can pause your video, finish up 5 more rounds, unpause when you're done, and we'll resume from there. We're done with the 6 rounds on these 18 pegs. So now let's decrease from 18 to 16 pegs. Let's decrease from here. So you can separate your upper and your lower bands. Put your hook through, pick up the lower, and release these 2 bands left on your peg. Just pull it. And you see the other end of these 2 bands on my hook is coming from here. So let's place this over here on the opposite side. Let's do the same here. Put your hook through, pick up those lower 2 bands, release those 2 bands left on the peg, just pull. The other end of the 2 bands on my hook is coming from here, so let's bring it over here on the opposite side. So let's do one more round with the black, with the seaweed in the center. So 2 bands, 2 white bands here. Another 2. White bands here. Now the black. Now let's do those transition areas. 1 white band, 1 black band. White band here. Black band across. Let's finish this off. Please feel free to pause your video at any time if you need to catch up. Now let's bring all the lower bands up and over. We will need 2 more rounds on these 16 pegs, but before we start with those 2 rounds, we're going to have to lift the seaweed bands, the black bands. So get 2 white bands, pick up this seaweed band, lift, place one end here, the other here, another 2, lift the second, put one end on the previous peg, and replace that peg with the other end. Let's lift the third, 2 bands, pull it through, one end on the previous, and one end to replace that peg. The other side, two white bands, pull it through the black bands. One end goes here first, and the other replaces that peg. Another 2 on the second, Pull it through, one on the previous. One to replace the peg. The last, pull two through. Place one end on the previous and the other one here. We're going to push this up. And we're going to start with our 2 rows of all white bands. So we have 2 double bands, 2 white bands, lay them all around. Another 2. So after you lay down your bands, you're just going to lift all the lower bands up and over, leaving only this new set of bands that we're placing now. So there should only be 4 bands on each peg. I'm going to fast forward a bit, so feel free to pause if you need to catch up. One more round. We're going to decrease to 14 pegs. So let's just go to the extended areas. Put your hook through, pick up the lower 2 bands, release those 2 on your peg, and pull. So let's place this over here on the opposite side. The other side, pick up the lower 2 bands, release, and bring it opposite. On the 14 pegs, we're now going to need 2 rounds of all white bands. Pause your video, finish up 2 rounds on these 14 pegs. Unpause when you're done, and we'll resume from there. After the 2 rounds on the 14 pegs, we're now going to decrease to 12. Put your hook through, pick up those lower 2 bands, release those 2 bands left on the peg, just pull. So let's place this over here on the opposite side. Same here. Put your hook through, pick up those lower 2 bands, release those 2 bands left on the peg, just pull. So let's place this over here on the opposite side. On 12 pegs, we're going to need 2 rounds again, all white bands. I'm going to fast forward a bit, so feel free to pause if you need to catch up. We're now going to decrease from 12 to 10 pegs on the extended pegs. Put your hook through, release, bring it opposite. On 10 pegs, we're only going to need 1 round, all white bands. Then this is our last decrease from 10 to 8. Put your hook through, pick up the lower 2, release those, and Place those two bands opposite. Let's do the same here. We're now in 8 pegs, and we're going to do 1 round of double bands. For our last round, we're going to do 1 last round with single bands all around. You lift everything up and over. There should only be 2 bands left on each peg. So let's close this off, starting on this peg, but first go here across, put your hook through, pick up the lower one, bring it over to the starting peg, hook through, push back the upper 2, pick up the lowest band, bring it forward, put your hook through, pick up the lowest band and move it forward. And we're just going to repeat that all around. Back at the starting peg, hook through, pick up a single band and tie it off and help it off the loom. So at the end, you can actually just choose to shape it and tuck the top part in, or if you want to seal the hole a little bit more on top, push your hook through, put your hook through, pull 2 bands through, create a slip knot. And you can just hide that tail in. Reshape and adjust it a bit, and that's it. So I hope you like it. Enjoy your onigiri.